Okay, so continuing on with Pantheon. So the first goddess that I want to add thoughts, describe some things on is Venus. I've talked about her previously. So okay, so with Venus, she is kind of, you can imagine her as the divine feminine. You can imagine all kinds of concepts associated with her. Like imagine there's so much beauty and love and pleasure that is in her. You can be so, she can appeal to you in such a way that you feel so enamored by her. And you can imagine her in so many different ways. You can imagine her visually, the way how curvaceous she is, the way how beautiful she is. So you can imagine all kinds of um, concepts about her and so many different things. And yeah, so with her being a way of looking at the divine feminine, I thought it was yeah, I think it's a very interesting, one of the most interesting um, what would you say, goddesses of the Pantheon. Okay, so the next the next goddess I want to talk about and add some things on is Lumina, and I think this is one of the things that I kind of wanted to add on is that with Lumina there are one of the things about her is that she has the most amazing, dazzling dresses. So you can imagine her in so many different dresses, and these all have um, very interesting concepts of colors and lights and the way they reflect and refract and create all these various concepts and visual styles and colors with light. And these are very beautiful dresses in the way that um, they really work with her and her personality. And I think, yeah, there are so many different ways in which you can imagine these dresses, imagine so many different styles with different colors and different sort of reflections and refractions, so many different ways it can work and create really beautiful, dazzling visuals in the way that it suits her dazzling personality. I think this was one of the ways I'd like to imagine her. Okay, so yeah, apart from this, there was another thing that I kind of wanted to add. I'm not sure about this, but I think maybe I would just mention this. Okay, so this is with Lumina. I thought maybe she can have multiple iterations. So there is Lumina 1, Lumina 2, Lumina 3. I'm not sure about this, but I thought it was these are various iterations of her, different ways you can um, yeah, I'm not sure, maybe, but I thought I should just mention this idea maybe, and just, I'm not sure, but I thought I should just mention this. Okay, so yeah, that was just some thoughts on Pantheon. So I'm going to now next go on to the next list, and this is the list of, for now I'm just calling this stellar, and I've talked about various other things, various other stellar concepts before. So I just wanted to quickly add um, Venus and Saturn and possibly Jupiter to this. Okay, I don't necessarily want to say too much about this right now, but just to quickly add this. Okay, imagine the visuals of Saturn as well. The the globe, the sphere with the the ring disc. I think it's an interesting visual. Okay, so yeah, just quickly wanted to add those. All right. So the next that is for this list. The next is, I just want to quickly mention something about this. Okay, this is not really a list. Um, it's a concept for a list. Okay, so maybe there will be some in this later. Okay, so this is what I'm calling scenes. Okay, or scene. Yeah, scenes. Okay, so what these can be is with all these various things, arcs and motifs and gods and goddesses and all these other concepts and emotions, there can be like certain scenes. I don't know how long or how short, but these can be scenes from light color arrays. So these are all kinds of interactions, all kinds of like backgrounds, and all kinds of I don't know, um, so many different ways, so many different emotions that can be present in these interactions. All these characters that we have talked about, all these things, and I don't know, settings, and all these various combinations and uh, different ways you can arrange them, and there are so many possibilities here. So yeah, I was kind of thinking about maybe there can be scenes from this. There's a certain scene which says a certain story, there's another scene which says another story. Not that these necessarily have to be in some kind of a sequence or be consistent. There can be some interesting things going on with that too, but I was thinking maybe these are more self-contained, and in a way that once a scene happens, then maybe there's some kind of a reset, and now there's another scene. So it between these scenes there isn't necessarily a memory. So these are kind of self-contained. Maybe I was thinking about this. I'm not entirely sure about this. These were some thoughts that I was kind of thinking about on this. So I thought, maybe I should mention this. But yeah, I definitely want to add to this list of scenes and see in which ways I can work with all these things. Okay. All right. So let's finally get to the list of VTOL jets. And I think that these are some interesting things here. Okay, so I'm going to talk about them as a list of various VTOLs. Okay, so the first one is what I'm calling needle. Okay, and you can, in terms of visuals, this is somewhat similar to a needle. That's why the name. Okay, so yeah, you can, I don't know how much I want to describe this, but I think you can kind of imagine this, okay? So with this, that was the first one. The next VTOL jet is Vector. Now this is a jet which has potentially 5 or more seats, and you can imagine this as creating a certain space with these seats, and yeah, it can create for an interesting like space in that sense. Okay, so the next VTOL after this is Moth, and this is a delta wing VTOL. Okay, so with this, the colors that I was thinking of with this are black and gold, in the way that it would create an interesting appearance. Okay, so the next, the next after this is Bubble, and this with this VTOL, I thought there was like an interesting um, concept in the way that the canopy can sort of be like circular and spherical like a bubble. Not spherical, but yeah, convex like a bubble. So I was kind of thinking it would create an interesting sort of rounded appearance in its canopy. And you can imagine this in its colors. You can imagine the canopy would be colorless, or maybe it has, yeah, colorless. And the rest of the jet, you can imagine this as, maybe you can imagine it as white, or a light yellow, or a lemon yellow. It would create for some interesting, I don't know, maybe an interesting look. Okay, so the next VTOL after this is Astronoma, and I thought this was, with this there are more capabilities with this. This is a somewhat higher specification jet in its capabilities. So it'll go much higher altitudes and speeds, maybe, I don't know. So this is the list. I just wanted to quickly like list these things out, list these jets, and you can imagine them with, I don't know. Yeah, just to quickly list them out. And yeah, you can imagine in what visual ways you might want to imagine them. And yeah, I thought it was kind of something interesting to add to all these other things that I've talked about. Okay, so that is so far with all the lists. There will again most likely be additions, and I'll sort of think what new things I want to add to them. But so far we've talked about so many different things. When you know when we go back and look at all the things that I've talked about, I think there are so many different ways and where these can be um, imagined, and they can work with each other. I think there are so many possibilities here, and so many concepts and archetypes and so many emotions around all these different things. So I think this is where I'm going to end it for now. Like I said, there will be additions. And so yeah, that's it. Let me know what you think. Let me know which of these things kind of you thought maybe were interesting, or yeah. So yeah, let me know what you think. And that's it for this video. And yeah, I'll see you in the next videos. Okay, bye.